For the group projects, I was talking to Jewel earlier, and we were talking about their serial killer timeline project, and I was just walking through with her how that could like play out and how to approach it and what to try to like figure out to include and not to include. And I thought because there's no overlap, groups aren't going to be doing the same thing. I'll kind of give you the rundown I gave for their group so you can start thinking about your own subjects and whatnot through that kind of lens. I said initially, like what you can do as a group is we're going to be in Satori, right? I let everybody know that it's just in Satori. It's kind of just like our course material. You just make your own board for that. And then you guys can start adding stuff in there. And somebody literally could do like if they've got 5 people in the group. So like one person could do all of kind of the big giant timeline moments, the like cultural moments, the impacts, the like big events, right? The fall of the Berlin Wall, the moon landing, the world wars, those kinds. Just start getting all those things in there. Somebody else could be collecting like a chronology of firsts in the world of serial killers, like first time fingerprints are used, first time this, and start popping those into the timeline as well. While somebody else could be taking on, kind of like historical events surrounding those moments in that theme. So, like, when serial killers start, transporting bodies by cars, that's the place to pause and reflect on the automobile and how that's a big factor in this because there's no serial killers before the, modernization. So, so okay, you're kind of you've got this kind of like main spine of your timeline going through that 150 year chronology and you're going to be filling that in with the most pertinent information for your thing. That's stuff that's easy to recognize. But then you kind of have to analyze that at where it sits in time, right? In this timeline that you're now familiar with. You're like, okay, I kind of know what's happening in each kind of like period or decade or about those years. Um, and include those things. So like the car or like the impact of violence, like media. Like is that might be an even bigger thing though. That might not be like an immediate event or a technology that emerges like the car. Um that could be like, oh, society, entertainment, like glorifying violence. Okay, media consumption and then disassociating and objectifying people enough to be able to kill them with serial impunity, and like no conscience about it. Like that's driving something. So it's like, okay, here's the issue. Here, one step over are like all the historical elements of that, scene or issue or piece that you're talking about. And then maybe a third shade out would be kind of analyzing the why, not just the pull, right? Like I've got a car, I can transport bodies now. This is easier. Oh, cities are really big and anonymous. They're easier to hide in. Like all of those things are kind of a pull or a draw for serial killers to emerge. But also the pushes, like what pushes that to happen. And so I was saying one person could even look at the whole timeline through a big lens like trauma, like where are these big traumatic events, where do you see the rise in like alcoholism, what about what's shell shock or PTSD after the world wars, like when did child abuse or child abandonment or any of these things, when did these start to come up, and what's the correlation between that kind of like national trauma and then the elements of like serial killers and how they're responding, and is this somewhat of a manifestation of this part of our society? So like different people can kind of take on different elements within a group of the whole timeline that are maybe more right up their alley. Like say somebody's an administrative justice major and they're on the serial killer thing, maybe they take all the law and order stuff and they're looking at the cases and the way the FBI forms even the kind of concept of serial killer and how that wasn't, what were they called before that? And looking at how those things all stream together. So there's not like
Professor,
a right way to do it. There's just many ways to do it. But those kind of levels, that's the level of analysis that I'm looking for in a group project. Yeah.
another thing, I like what you said about alcoholism, because something you should know about alcohol is that half of all murders are committed either when the victim is drunk or the perpetrator is drunk. So like you should like you can really tie it into a variety of ways.
Yeah. Yeah. And like people come back from war broken and they become alcoholics. They might not become serial killers, but they might be highly disassociative and like completely void for the children that they have. And you mix that in with like emotional, physical, verbal, sexual abuse, and it's like, well, we're creating a firestorm in that, like across a big generation. Um, but that's kind of like you're looking at a really big picture at that point to make those kinds of like, what's pushing this, what's driving this thing. So yeah, those would be kind of the three layers of interaction or writing that I'd be looking for. Kind of bones, muscle, and like organs, or something like that. If you're thinking about a skeleton, it's like, don't just give me the bones of something. Don't just give me like a timeline of firsts or new inventions or anything like that. Include those, and try to not just give me like a good contextual timeline of those things with historical context around it. Give me both of those with analysis also around it and your thoughts on why these things are happening. It's not like on a project like this, there is not a right answer for that. There are like different reasons behind things. So it's like, oh, okay, like take a stab at those. Like, why? What do you see here when you look at all these things? Why do you think this is getting, you know, developing or becoming a movement? Like your groups on war, right? Like, why? Like, how does war change? And what do you think is making us continue to pursue this policy or these kinds of ideas? Yeah, your thoughts are valuable there. All right. Well, let's. I'm gonna pull up Satori here, and we're gonna try to get into the 1920s. And like I said on the email, the test will be next Thursday or next Tuesday to Wednesday, 5 p.m. to 5 p.m. Anytime you want, you can take it in there. I'm going to try to get us up to speed on this for the 1920s and 30s. So we're going to try to just go as quick as we can through a lot of this stuff. So you're definitely going to need to take time to go through this on your own and watch videos that are in here and attached to things. Actually, here, let me real quick. So it's almost 8:30. I'll probably go until 9:30. Like I was planning on having at least an hour. So I'll go a bit longer, but like I said, you guys feel free to hop off at 9 if you want to. Or even if you're like tired and burned out right now, you can hop off and like this will be one video by itself, separate from the other one that I'll upload to YouTube. So if if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just tired, by all means, feel free to take this in later when you've got more brain power. Uh, and also, I just wanted to invite all of you guys to join me anytime you want on Stereo, the app I've been mentioning. It's pretty cool and it's growing pretty. It's growing a lot every day. It's there's a lot of people on there now, and I've had a lot of history discussions on there. And so if there's things like topics you want to talk about or kind of like um social issues or anything like that that's connected to historical issues or stuff that's totally unrelated. I mean, we can talk about whatever. I talk about theology. We talked about the Bible on there today with some with some people. Like I said, I was talking about QAnon conspiracies yesterday. Uh, you just download the app on whatever platform you want, and you make a little avatar. Make it try to make it look like you, because that's all people see. There's no video, and it's just it's just like talking. So it's conversation, and we can set up a time to talk, or you can hop on there when I'm talking and like interact with like leaving audio comments while I'm talking with other people on there. But yeah, it's a fun way to go, just kind of a deep dive into a topic that like not everybody in a history class necessarily would want to like spend an hour and a half like dissecting and ripping apart and kind of like answering all the questions and looking stuff up on the internet, but you and some other people would. And Yeah, it's been really fun, and I've had all kinds of great conversations on there. I've got a handful of former students are on there with me, but you guys, it'd be super fun if any of you wanted to hop on there. Um, and if it's a bit much to think about doing a new social media app right now, I get that too. This one's just nice. It's not toxic like all the other ones seem to be. It's
I
just
think it's pretty fun.
yeah, yeah. That's right. You've been on there. Yeah,
Pretty fun.
yeah. It's fun. It's like, oh, this is cool, especially when people are stuck at home or whatever, like on quarantine. It's like, well, this is cool. This feels like having just conversation with a whole bunch of people or even random people. Yeah, yeah, and it's also really fun because it's like, whoa, this thing just started. Like it's a month and a half old. It feels weird to be on a social media app like that. I'm positive is gonna like grow and stick around. It's gonna be like one of the, TikTok or Snapchat or whatever. It's like it's gonna be another social media platform. But to be on it really early is like this is kind of cool, just on like a sociological perspective, just seeing like, whoa, because it's been around for about a month and a half, and it's a lot older than like it's significantly different already than it was a month and a half ago. It was weird being on it because like literally they didn't tell any of us what to do on the first day. They're just like, the app's live, go. Like,
Mhm.
what? Like just opening it up. It was crazy. It was crazy.
It kind of felt like right now when you had left and we were just like free balling it.
Yeah,
Not
totally.
no pun intended. It literally, and we just like started having like the one student, she started asking questions about our project and what to do. If you want to go and elaborate over that again. And then we were just all chiming in, and then we just started having, me and George just started random conversations before
Yeah.
you just like hopped in. I was just like, okay, it felt like I was on stereo.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally, right? It's and that's the kind of like interaction that we miss in-person classes that, we don't really get a lot of in Zoom. So, um maybe I'll even just try to like leave the leave the meeting open a half hour or an hour early for people that want to get on and just talk and see what people are up to, or ask questions about other people's group projects, or you know whatever, because that's like half the best part about going to college in person is like you get interaction like that, and you also even build friendships out of that, like you were saying, like having just kind of conversation about stuff, because statistically speaking, by like the age 25, you've met 95% of the people you'll be friends with in your lifetime. Americans, that is. So like that doesn't mean like people make deep friends all throughout life. You totally can, but it's just harder to. You don't have like common settings like school. Which however old you are, you just don't have this setting again, unless you just stay in school for a really long time. But even then it changes, because it's like, okay, these are kind of like broad general topics, history, and they talk on all kinds of different points of life. So yeah, I think I'll think about how to just even leave some more space open for that, because it's good. It's good, and it's good to know what people are doing for projects. On that, Since I'm just gonna, I'll record after this when we kind of cinch up this part. Does anybody have anything they want to say or throw out or ask about group projects right now? Because
Yes, sir.
yeah, okay.
How do you add a storyboard so our group can contribute to something?
So if you've added me as the professor,
Oh yeah, but when I go to your class thing, it only your introduction shows up. Like I don't see any other boards.
that's what somebody else is saying. Okay, so
That was one of my questions I had too.
okay.
One of the other members of our group actually made it, and for, to start it off. And then when you were talking, I started thinking, I wonder if it was made in the wrong location, because I'm not sure, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Oh, you know what though? He's in another class though. He's in your online class. So I don't know if that makes a difference as to where you might see it. His name is Jordan.
It shouldn't. I don't see anything. Let me see. I'm going to create a blank here. I'm going to. No.
I have a question about the one
note
assignment that's going to be due tomorrow. What is the one note assignment for tomorrow?
No, that should be due.
Well, according to the calendar, it's tomorrow.
Yeah. No. I'll change that. In the email I sent out, I had said Sunday night. So you guys have through the weekend to kind of like go through notes and try to get up to speed in terms of like the 20s and 30s, basically. Which I mean, you guys are already well on your way. They're in there. Again, like the first section, there's duplicate. There's quite a bit of duplicate stuff in there, and so maybe cleaning that up. If you haven't added much or enough, just editing, right, and proofreading, and kind of like just making them better notes. It's not necessarily. It's bulk is not always helpful in history, right? Like less is more, and yeah, especially when it comes to notes, less can very often usually be more. So like honing it in, kind of simplifying it and making it really, basic, understandable, easy access. Assuming that there's a general knowledge about the subject already, because we're assuming everybody's read stuff and read through Satori material, or like heard me talk about it as well on like, some of the on Wednesday night or recordings. So it's not necessarily like all the information has to be there. It's like, well, yeah, this guy is, what his deal is. And so some of the stuff you don't even have to necessarily spell out. It's like, hey, here's the kind of 3 essential things or the big things to, go under this. So let that, you guys can work with that for notes if, because having 70 or 80 people on there is that's a lot of people writing notes, so that should be pretty good. Though notes by committee is hard to do, but you guys are pulling it off. Yeah.
For this story timeline, I just found it. Would you recommend I do blank or timeline? That's what I have. Which one would you prefer?
I don't know. I guess timeline.
I'm good with either one though. I mean,
yeah, just try timeline, because I mean that's what we're doing.
I don't know, because I'm kind of concerned if it's just a timeline. Could I write like a you know how I kind of like writing small essays? Like I think that's kind of cool. I mean, I won't be able to do that for every single year, obviously, and that's not really desirable. But still, like.
No, yeah, but like for certain subjects, right? Like within your guys' timeline, what you're gonna do, like there's gonna be key elements, and so like what I was telling the what I was saying earlier, kind of at the beginning of class, and at the and also when I was meeting with you and another student earlier in office hours, if some of the timeline is just the like raw data, right? Like formatting it, like adding years in, kind of organizing the big giant historical events that are going to have to be in there either way. Maybe somebody else is getting all of the firsts and all the like really specific data to that subject, like the really specific stuff, a lot of which you should probably wind up cutting out or consolidating into other pieces. It's like we don't just need random firsts all the time without any, relevance.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes they're just interesting, but then, another element off of those things and kind of like the historical things and the specific things is that deeper analysis. So like, the way I've got it laid out on here, like I try to keep a lot of the things to like a paragraph, but then there's some things that are like, several paragraphs or like several items long with big, chunks of writing in them because it's like, well, these are more ideas and concepts than just kind of like an event or like a breakthrough or something like that. So
Thank you, Professor.
you got it. And for anybody not here live with us,
Yeah, back to
watching this when I upload it, like email me and let's set up a time to get get on Zoom as a group, or like even if you're not in anything yet, let's get a group of those folks too. Like all the people that are like, I don't know what to do. I'm like really floating. I have no ideas. Email me and we'll figure out times to like get some different Zoom groups together to hop on and talk for a while. Um, so that I can help you guys kind of just like I really want to give you feedback now and like a lot of like we can talk through ideas and really just get you guys on the rails so you're feeling like okay cool I know how to go forward. So talking with Jewel earlier for the serial killer group, she's like okay I feel like way better now, like that was like the clarification and kind of like helping even just wrestle out you know a division of labor and some general kind of ways to approach subjects is like okay cool I kind of wow we can go do that now, that's like manageable and like you can kind of wrap your mind around the project and I'll check in as we go and you guys just ask for feedback and I'll try to look at it and give it to you, but the live collaboration's good. And so even doing a couple of groups at a time, where there's like uh 10 or 15 of us on here, and talking through a few different groups because like for me describing kind of the serial killer stuff and some of the things we could look at with like trauma and those things might be triggering like oh that might like something maybe not that but something along that vein, that might be a good way to approach the subject I'm doing over here. So there's a lot of like the questions are all relevant to one another and the feedback for one group's relevant for one another, but I want to make sure they're small enough so everybody can ask questions and I can give specific feedback to each group, doing that. So not necessarily everybody at once, but um, you know, a group of uncommitted, undecided voters at this point. We'll figure out what political party you're going to join. I mean, what group project you want to do, or create some more ones, and work through some structure and ideas with you guys that are forming some of these. So yeah, try to, I guess, play around and try to create a board and invite the people in your group to it and invite me on there. And hopefully we'll work that out. When you figure that out, email me. I can't look at this from like a student view, which you can do in Canvas, but here I can't. So it's actually kind of hard for me to figure out how to do that. I might wind up having to create a board and have add the four of you guys as like editors or creators on it, but I might have to make it, which if that's the case I will do. I'll just have you guys email me your group and subject and members' emails, and I will do that. But try to do it on your own. It should allow you to. Previously, it did. So yeah, give that a shot.
You know, I didn't even get to learn about World War II in high school.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in 11th grade, and we were supposed to learn about it at the end of like 10th grade, and we went on COVID, so like we never like
Oh my
learned
gosh.
about it. But
What?
we'll just see how it goes in this class.
My son is in 11th grade and he's like,
I took US history twice. I took it like half of my sophomore year, and I had to take it again junior year for some reason, even though I passed it. I'm just
yeah,
Yeah,
he's in US
history right
history right
now.
now.
Yeah, I'm in U.S. history right now, but last year in
addition
world
to this
history, we were supposed to
class?
learn about it. But
Wait,
like
what?
at our school, like at SOAR, you learn about it like 10th grade. So like we got is like Ducksters, like a website, and you like play games, and then you like did a Google form and tell her if you did it or not. And so like
Wait, you a junior?
yeah.
Oh snap. Well, I am.
Oh man.
I just graduated.
Oh man, y'all like my kids' age. What the heck?
I graduated class of 2020. I am about to be 20 years old.
Yeah, I'm gonna graduate in
Oh, okay.
2022. So like we never like learned about World War II. My best idea of it is just from like the little stuff that I did gather from like the readings we were given, but we were all online. And then I read this book called The Other Victims, and it talks about like all of because there was different stars in the camps.
Oh
And
yeah.
so it talks about like the experience of gypsies, homosexuals,
What?
clergy.
Hitler
And so
didn't
like
just target Jews; he targeted the mentally disabled, like people
yeah,
autistic.
that was the saddest story. This girl had to get what's it called when they like take away your ability to give birth?
Hysterectomy.
Sterilize you. Yeah.
Yeah, they
hysterectomy.
sterilized her
Sterilize you. Yeah, that
twice.
too.
She was deaf.
Yeah,
It
like the
was
worst part.
Wow.
I think the worst atrocities, like in the history of the camps, was the ones of Dr. Josef Mengele, also known as Dr. Death,
The angel of death.
because he made experiments. He tried to make Aryan twins.
Yeah, I've heard about, and yeah,
Have you guys
that, and I've heard
have
that they were
talked
like
about this?
forced breeding
Oh yeah.
and like
Yeah,
taking
they
the babies.
Spawn the like okay, so I feel like we may have talked about this. Have any of you guys watched Man in the High Castle?
No.
Nope.
Oh, you gotta watch Man in the High Castle. Oh my god, you need to watch it. It's I think it's Philip K. Dick who wrote Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which is the that's the book title for it's not Blade Runner. Maybe it is Blade Runner. It's one of those, it's a sci-fi classic. And he wrote it in 1963. So it takes place in 1963 in an alternate universe where the Nazis developed the atomic bomb first and won the war.
God.
And like America's divided the Rocky Mountains with the like Japanese Pacific states and the American Reich. Oh my God. And it's sci-fi too. So it like does some stuff with like the alternate reality thing, which is very popular right now. And it is crazy, but it's like it'll suck you in, especially if you like World War II stuff. So, oh man, it's a mind bender though. It like really it's kind of stretches your imagination.
I also kind of wonder what would have happened if Hitler did win the war.
I know they have like on that channel I was telling you about, they have coming up like his it's called Hitler's post-war plan, and it's like part 1, part 2, part 3 or whatever. And it goes into like I guess it's just different people opinions and talking about what his like anti-Semitic laws and like the implement of changes.
Stuff. They had plans to like drain the Mediterranean Ocean.
Yeah, the clothing laws. I didn't even know there was a clothing law.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
the
like
heck?
Like every Jew who wasn't like incarcerated had to wear the Star of David.
Well, that I knew, but what's the eugenics program?
So that's
Ooh.
Are we gonna learn about
Yeah,
eugenics?
I don't
Because I
know
hear
anything
that
about
all the
that.
time, but I don't know what it is.
yeah, it kind of starts in this period actually. You know what? I can transition to that to do the New Deal. So let me find
Okay.
where I'm going to start that at, and we'll talk about eugenics because, yeah, it kind of starts in this era, which is like scientific breakthrough, but sometimes advancing, beyond our, like our science goes before our capacity to necessarily understand things sometimes. So, uh,
And then it also talked about like he established the SS bride schools, whatever the heck that means.
yeah, it's like basically brothels for the SS
Oh,
soldiers who breed out
right. Which
marriage
okay.
so that they could breed superior genes. Because, like, if you were tall and blonde and muscular, especially if you had blue eyes, you were recruited into the SS. So, like, you're like, well, so much for Christian morality because they're all like under the guise of like being Christian and like a Christian ordained state, like all of them, the whole entire time. Like that's why I thought people never understand that. They're like, what? And it's not like the Germans were less Christian than like the British or like the French. It's just like, dude, that's kind of it got harangued and manipulated that way. Kind of like we're seeing some things today, like, whoa, that's there's some parallels there for sure. Where there's like a blindness to things because we don't expect them to repeat, right? Like we don't really expect that to ever be possible again. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like we're kind of foolish because we expect it to be identical. Like it'd have to be a German dude with a little mustache for like most people to recognize, like, oh, that's a dictatorial power that's driven by media and stuff. That's
Right. You got David Dukes going around, so it's still alive and well.
yeah.
You got
Yeah.
modern day David Dukes.
Yeah, that's a question I had. The class, like in the description, it says like it's from 1865 to like 2016. So like, are we gonna like stop at 2016, or like if we bring up something that happened like in 2018 or 2019?
Yeah, we will like and as much as you guys want to as well, we will ping pong up to like up to the present. So as things relate to like today or like several years ago,
Yes.
or like turn of the century,
Oh, sorry.
that's okay. Thanks. We're let's talk about that as much as we want because I don't know that we'll be able to get all the way up through even through the whole 20th century. I mean, we'll take great strides as we get towards the end. We'll try to probably cover more and more, but like World War II is taught so little and it's so big that it's almost like a math equation. It's like if we gloss over this without getting it and move on, yeah, I can't really catch up. Like nothing else is gonna make sense.
Yeah.
Like
You
crazy.
sound like Mr. Dordan right there.
Gordon.
Doran, what's his name? The teacher, the head of the math department. Doran.
At
Yeah.
ABC.
Yeah, at ABC with the blonde hair, the Mr. Doran.
I don't hang with the math people.
And today, like in class, I was just like really quiet because like the world is in shambles right now.
Dude, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Crazy.
And my friend, the one that lives in Florida, the one that I want him to like join in or at least like hit you up on stereo. He told me today he like tracked his vote, like his vote thing. His app was his ballot, and it said they denied it because his signature didn't match. And so now he has to go 4 hours out of his county to do it because he said he can't resend it in because it said it didn't match. I'm like, they're really doing that shit in Florida? They're pulling those stunts?
That's
So
buck
now
wild
it makes me
because
question, like, should I send it in or should I just wait till the 3rd?
I think honestly, because I'm working the polls on
Mhm.
the 31st, November 1st, and the first, even if he has to drive out to another county, how good is it? Because he's gonna be marked as a provisional voter.
Right. That's why he's pissed. Like he's been bitching about that all day. I mean, I guess I'd be pissed too. But
Yeah,
whatever. Go ahead, Professor.
irritating.
Continue
Shady
on.
people. Shady people.
Shady.
No, we're not gonna talk about the Republicans who put up fake poll boxes and there's no repercussions.
Oh
Right.
yeah. Oh.
Or got caught like the.
Yeah, but I don't want. I like the
throwing it
Democrats
out.
have been known for burning, or have been known for throwing away ballots that had Trump's
I
name on.
mean, come on, it's on both ends. Let's not go Democrat,
know
go
that too.
Republican. It's on both ends. Let's just, but they're really taking extreme measures,
Fake
setting up
ballot
fake
boxes are pretty
boxes.
extreme. Yeah, that's
Personally,
Yeah, they're, yeah.
personally, like I feel like this election, like no matter which way it goes, you can argue that it was rigged. You know?
I
Yeah, well,
mean,
I think Trump's hoping that that's the case either way. Like,
what they say the left and right paradigm is the two wings of the same eagle.
yeah,
That is exactly why, like, OMG, like when I got my driver's license like 2 weeks ago, I was trying to like see if I could pre-register to vote, but like it was so hard to choose a political party, and I don't like want to be independent. Like, no, I want to be part of a collective. And like I took a quiz,
Just
and I
put
did my
Republican
research.
on mine.
You don't have to choose you don't have to choose a party.
Yeah,
You could,
I find that.
but when you vote, you can still vote the way you want. You should vote for whoever represents
But
you and your
when you-
values the most.
Yeah, because I was gonna go with the Green
Like
Party,
I'm going
but
Trump. I'm going Trump, and I might trigger people. I'm going Trump, but like
Yeah,
this
you're gonna trigger
the country,
me.
like
You're gonna trigger me. We can't go have that conversation.
we gotta move. We got to move over to stereo.
Yeah,
for
we
that.
gotta move on. Go ahead. Yeah, we gotta move to stereo on that. But go
yeah,
ahead.
I
'cause,
didn't know
like-
we didn't have to choose one.
You
I
don't
didn't
have
know.
Trump.
the political
Trump-
party
'cause this-
is like when the advantage of being in a political party is only to vote in their primaries.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. Like, you can't vote in the primaries if I go like green. Like, it's
Right,
irrelevant.
it won't count. You can't vote for any of the like.
Yeah, but like the
independents that
Green
have-
Party most fits more of a Democratic Party, so that's probably where you're gonna go. I have conservative values and I have liberal values. That's just what it is. I'm born and raised in California. I have a kid. I'm conservative on a lot of issues, but when it comes to social issues, I'm pretty liberal. And
I was raised.
I
I
just-
was raised in Alabama, so I was just.
I know, and yeah. So you're gonna be different because y'all is all conservative down there. I get it. My family's in Arkansas, so but they're not voting for Trump.
Yeah, no, well, no.
Yeah, because I
Thank
think Biden personally is a glorified socialist.
I mean, what do we think
We
Trump
got
is?
no
I mean,
time
he's
for
like,
this right
Yeah,
now.
we
we
don't.
got
Come
to get
on.
moving.
yeah, come on.
but I'm down to have the conversation. We can do it. Just like get the stereo app. Send me
Yeah.
a request for a time talk, or let me know, and I'll sit down and we
This
can
is
talk
gonna be-
all day about that. I that sounds just good to me. So, okay,
Alright.
so
Are we-
I'm gonna share my.
Are we in
screen.
the after? Are we in the after class discussion, or are you still
Oh,
lecturing? 'Cause
we're
I
we're
hopped off
well
and
into
came
the
back on.
after class discussion. There's not many people left in here.
All right. Well, I'm still hung up on this whole Satori thing because we did create a timeline and I went back and looked at it and it's definitely not linked under your class. Somebody else made it. One of our other classmates made it. I am so confused so I went in to try to see if I could make one under yours and I'm not able to do it as far as I can tell. So
Okay, well, thank you for the
I'm
feedback on
lost.
that. I really appreciate it. If you guys want, you can just send me an email with like the group, like all the group name and email addresses for everybody. And I'll make one that you're all in, and I'm the teacher over, and you should be able to even like if you've done work in yours that you should be able to copy.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time hearing you because somebody's unmuted. Sorry,
Yeah,
I
let's-
can't hear
I'm
you.
gonna mute you guys there. Okay, so what I was saying,
Okay.
Jennifer, is that
So send you everybody from our group, because we have 2 people from the other class and they're not in the Zoom, so they're kind of out of the loop and it's kind of hard to coordinate it all right
Yeah,
now.
that's what I was saying
know,
earlier.
getting-
Also, when you email me, like we can start trying to figure out a time that we could all meet as a group on Zoom. Me with you.
I have a question.
What's that?
Well, the thing is that if we meet on Zoom, then it's kind of hard because we all have opposite work schedules in our group. So that's kind of been, but that's not the problem. The problem is, so you're telling me that you create the page under yourself and then we work off of it? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I think so. Based on what you told me, I think that might be the only way to have, to make that happen. But I mean, that wouldn't be hard. And any of the work that you have in your thing now, you can copy to another thing. It's like you just click copy.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, it shouldn't,
All right.
that
I
shouldn't
will
be a
send
problem. But
some-
like, I want to meet with all the groups on Zoom at some point. And if like 1 or 2 members can't be there, it's not the end of the world, but at least a couple people from each group, like
A
at
little
some.
confused
Okay.
in a group.
And if you're not in a group,
All right,
I
well,
want to meet
that's
with
fine.
all the group list students as well. So yeah, either way, any of those ways.
Okay, so I'll send you the email and then go ahead and I'll do that. Thank you so much.
You got it.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
Please, because I was asking earlier when you were on break, is it gonna be verbal? Is it like is it gonna be like a presentation?
So I don't know. I would love to have time to look through them together, which, depending on how everybody's feeling after finals, not just for this class, like maybe we set up another time where we can hop on and look at stuff together, or look at timelines together. If we meet up for a group Zoom meeting, with your group and maybe any other group that wanted to meet at that time, a few groups together would work good. We can look at each other's timelines together on there. Like I can screen share and, we can talk ideas and we can see each other's stuff then. But yeah, I'd like to have some space to share them and look at them together. And, ideally, like I want this to be like it's a topic that you care about enough. And it's a product that like at the end of the day, you'll be like, hey, this is interesting. And like, it's not just like long-winded or anything. It's like interesting. And,
Yeah.
you want to share it with your friends or share it on social media or something like this. Is like people like reading about serial killers, right? People like reading about parts of history they've never heard about before. They not everybody, but lots of people do. We all like YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not necessarily a presentation. Like you're not going to have to do that before the class or anything, because we're already we're behind and
Just have to
falling behind.
We just have to type it on Satori.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Just like the ones for class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So are we gonna do bullet points or just like an essay or something?
Well, so like how I have it laid out on Satori for our class is that's kind of like what I'm expecting you guys to do. Maybe not that level of writing. Like I'm not expecting it to be like super, dense or like super academic or anything like that in terms of
Oh, okay.
the like standard, but like the kind of level of detail, Now our class is for everything in our history timeline. So it's not going to be that much stuff, but
Yeah.
like in that order, like kind of going year by year and showing the like important,
Oh, okay.
and then sometimes just writing like out some bullet points about some facts on something is good enough. And that's good. You're just kind of giving the basic information on things. Sometimes writing a real brief explanation under something is enough. but then it's at points you should have ones where it's longer explanations and you're writing, you know, bigger sections, like a few paragraphs or a few different items that are all kind of together and go together like I try to lay out on Satori. So
Okay.
and you guys can share those, right? Like you don't have to write all of them. Like some
So like
parts that
we
you divide up for research.
so we have to like create like is it like a board or like a page where we can just put everything in there?
Yeah, and what I was telling Jennifer, because she was telling me she doesn't seem to be able to find a way to like add me to the one that they made. I think I might have to make it myself and like add you guys to it and create a group for you. That I'm like one of the admins on or something like that. So if you can figure out a way to make a board and add me to it, that's great. Go ahead and then tell me how you did it. If not, whatever group you're a part of, email me all the group names and emails,
Okay.
and I'll make a group
Yeah,
for you.
because because for my group, I think we are about 3 of us, and I don't see any email. I put my email in there, but they didn't put theirs. So
Yes, somebody else pointed that out earlier, and I'm going to let me try to remember to email the class and say, hey, go in and like look at groups and sign up for something, or if you're in something, make sure to add your email because not everybody did there. So
Yeah, we stayed up
yeah.
way past what we were originally intending to.
I know, huh? I'm like waiting on that.
Dude, okay. All right. Let's get a roll on.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
So what are the components of the New Deal specifically? I have a basic understanding of it, but I was wondering how you would approach it.
Okay, well, I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to do it. So let me start kind of here in the mid 20s first, because we got to get to the like reason you need a New Deal, which is like reckless financial policies. Okay, so